My name is Shadia Seeley.
Zahir Motara.
I'm Bernice Sylvia.
Jerome Hoyt.
I'm Crystal Holder, and I'm in studio with Sports Therapy 101.
Welcome to In Studio with Sports Therapy 101 season finale. If you have been following us all season, you have met and heard the stories of 5 amazing athletes slash coaches. Today we've brought them all together to have a discussion about sport, to continue the discussion on sports in Barbados. Today we have 4 wonderful athletes. Amber is not with us today. We apologize for her absence. She wasn't able to make it, but she was able to sponsor us these 4 lovely bar stools that we're sitting on today. And we're just going to jump into conversation. We have to my left, Shadia Seeley, Barbados national record holder and in the 800 and 1500 meter. Next to her, Crystal Holder, Barbados beach wrestler competitor. Next to her, Jerome Hoyt. He is also a beach wrestler competitor and coach. And last but certainly not least, we have Zahir Motara, former Barbados national basketball player and basketball coach currently. All right, welcome to all 4 of you. I'm happy to see all of you here again today. So we're just going to get the conversation started. All of you are either currently or used to be representatives for Barbados in your respective sports. Now tell me, how does it feel to represent your country? We're going to start with Shadia.
A sense of pride and validation, because if you are a Barbados national athlete, it means you are either the top in your field or one of the top people. So I was always very proud to represent the country.
So it's a set of mixed feelings for me representing Barbados. It's an honor, first of all, to go anywhere around the world and wear our colors. At the same time, there's a immense pressure for expectations to compete against the best of the world. I always feel like I have to be on the top of my game in order to be welcomed back to Barbados as a proud athlete. And so I always leave with that in mind. I have to do well, I have to perform. And so it's a mixed experience for me representing the country.
For me, personally, I couldn't want to speak for myself. I love representing my country because even though, I'm from a small country compared to most, the ability to compete against other people, to try to better myself as an athlete is important, because I feel I have a lot I can do and give in the sport that I am in, right? And plus too, in my sport you have a lot of longevity, so you can be training and practicing all the way to your 45 maybe or whatever. So I'm practically going to go until the wheels fall off for me.
Love that.
Right? Because for me, my mentality is I have a goal in mind and I have to reach its goal. And it don't matter what it takes, I have to. So even if, say, I had to lose my hand tomorrow, it's not going to stop me from competing. That's just my mentality. But all in all, it is a immense sense of pride to represent the country.
Well, representing Barbados has always been a great joy, and it brings out it's the pride in you pretty much. For any time I was young, one of my first loves was cricket, and my dream was to play for Barbados and West Indies. And as sports took a change in terms of the direction I went in and pursued basketball, one of the things I really wanted to do was to play for my country. And having done that at the junior level, then the senior level, it brought a great sense of pride, especially me being of Indian descent and be able to represent Barbados. I was born here, and I always looked at it as a chance to do my country proud. And traveling all over and playing tournaments and doing different things, especially in a team sport, when people look at you, they're like, "Oh, you from Barbados? You sure?" It's like they don't expect me to be from Barbados. And being able to do things on the court and having people cheer you on, especially coming back home and feeling that sense of pride that you've done something, you've achieved something, both as a player and a coach. It really gives you a good feeling. And most of the sports that we play here, we're not necessarily paid for while we represent the country. And so you pretty much do it of pure love, really and truly. And that's pretty much what it all boils down to at the end.
Alright, so we're gonna go reverse order now. We're gonna start with Zaire. What is your favorite part about representing Barbados?
We're playing basketball, which is a team sport. You can't do it alone. You pretty much have teammates, you have coaching staff, you have everything. So just being around teammates, working hard on one goal, playing tournaments, trying to win tournaments, trying to move on further in tournaments, and pretty much being around everyone constantly, even if it's at practice or games. To me, those are the most memorable moments. And then when you travel, you get to play games and so on. And then, so that pretty much brings everyone together, brings pretty much the whole country together. And especially playing at home. So when we don't have much games at home pretty much as one. But when we have visiting teams or we have tournaments locally in terms of people coming in, just to play in front of your local supporters, your local fans. To me, the joy that you hear people pretty much supporting people who don't necessarily support you when you're in tournaments and games here, but once you're wearing your colors, they always support your representative.
The greatest part for me for representing my country is I get to network with other athletes. So I get to make connections with people, and in turn that will help me in terms of making me better because I take some of what they do and add to my my repertoire. And also competing against other people is I love competing. It's crazy. It gets the adrenaline pumping, right? And when I first did this sport, at first I wasn't going to compete, but after I saw the progress in myself, I said, you know what, let me give it a shot. And then from then, I found that I was pretty good at it. So I continue to do it, do it. And when you go overseas to compete and you compete against other people, sometimes in your mind, you're gonna tell yourself, well, look, I may not be this good, because I come from a small country. But when you go and talk to these people, they're impressed at how good you really are, and then you're like, come from a small country, like, and it makes me happy because then it shows you that even though we don't have the resources that they have, you can still compete with bigger countries, right? So for me, that's one of the most beautiful things of representing countries.
First and foremost, being able to showcase my talent and be a part of a group of people who showcase the talent that is in Barbados to put us on the map, basically, and to dispel the idea that the Caribbean is Jamaica. It's always funny to travel, and when people ask, well, where are you from? And you say Barbados, is that Jamaica? Like, no, we are from Barbados. So I love that feeling of basically saying we are here. And then to add to that, performing well and then being like proud and celebrating our wins, not just having Barbadians celebrate our wins, but having people from other countries like look at us as athletes and think that we belong here. That feels really good. And my other favorite part is being able to come back to Barbados and share the stories of my experiences and light a fire under younger athletes or a teammate in sport. Well, I guess in this case, no wrestling. But it's really good to come back and share the ups and downs, the do's and don'ts behind what I experienced so that we can push the sport forward for the next generation.
I think my favorite thing would have to be the opportunity to bond with the team, because we always have such a small contingent when we go to these big massive leagues. So I think getting a chance to bond with the few people on the team is one of my favorite things, as well as getting to travel the world, see different places, competing against athletes that inspired you in the past, and also coming back and sharing the experiences like what Crystal said. I went to Russia in 2013. Look at what's going on in Russia and Ukraine right now. So having the opportunity to share that experience with people has been really nice. So yeah, that's
Question. What don't you like about representing Barbados? Is there anything you do not like about representing your country? I know just now, for example, Crystal mentioned how that, and Jerome also mentioned that sometimes the competitors celebrate your wins and the competitors seem to cheer you on. It is surprised that you coming from a small country can do so much. but I also know the Bajan crowd is a very hard crowd to please. So I know sometimes that's not reciprocated when you return home. Is that one of your most hated things about representing the country? And also, what are the things you do not like, or yeah, what you don't like about representing Barbados?
I think that is my number one
Uh-huh.
least favorite thing about representing the country is the expectations that you are supposed to come back with medals every time. You get to these big meets and you don't make it past the first round in races and people chastise you, but actually getting to the meet is such a big accomplishment because that means you're one of the best in the world. So yeah, that has to be one of my least favorite things for sure, trying to please the Bajan public, and the media doesn't make it any better either.
Yeah.
They put these negative narratives out there and then the public doesn't have anything else to go on. So
I think the respect from, as Sadi was mentioned just now, the public as well, but I would just hit it from another angle. Is I remember a time when I first went to Cuba, and this was actually my first tour, and the tournament was supposed to be played in Santiago de Cuba, which is actually at the bottom of Cuba. So when we landed into Havana, and it was men's team, women's team, plus management, so you're looking at over 30 people, and then we had to get in a bus straight off the plane and drive, which was about 14 hours drive to get to the bottom. And while we were doing this, we were watching the Antiguan team get on another plane and fly about an hour, if that much, to get to the bottom. And then we had to play them like the first game, which was like 2 days away. So it's like those kind of things where respect for national athletes. As my first tour, I was excited. I didn't study in it at that time, but after that, you fly first, then you're driving. So it's just a matter of respect when it comes to associations. We know money is a problem. We know all these things, but I'm sure something could be done to just logistically make things better for our athletes. Even when they practice here, when they travel, we know practice sessions here sometimes can be a little difficult because everybody pretty much works and then comes to practice, unlike when you play against professionals at that level. But certain things could be put in place that I think could be better for our athletes and a little more respect for them, because the amount of work they put in, as you said, to get to that level, and then when you don't get to the finals, then everybody down in your neck. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't even know the work that it took to get here, you know? And these kind of things, I don't think the public or associations or even fellow competitors sometimes even have that respect. And I think it's just a matter of we culturally just always have this envy or this hate towards others. I guess, I mean, if you could have get it done, you would have probably be here instead of me, you know. You just won't say, you know, talking when we done come back. And so it's just a matter of respect, because to sit down and see a team that we got to play then fly out and got a chance to relax and, you know, get rid of jet lag, and then we driving. Like, I mean, drive was good at least for the first 4 hours, but after that, it's like, you know, you're tired of seeing people. and you know, so like those kind of little things in terms of just respect of an athlete and coaches and stuff when they're representing the country for no pay, for nothing. They're representing for pure pride and joy, really and truly, because you love to do it. And so it's just those little things, if we could get past as a society, or even somehow to get to that stage where pretty much a little more respect for the athlete.
Well, for me, I have to agree with everybody here, but this is gonna be a bit long for me. So, as an athlete, my experience is like, well, yeah, I don't like in terms of Bajan public. They do murder you, because for me personally, there are times where I used to train 5 days a week, getting home at 10 o'clock, and I have work next day, and they make work, because in my field as a wrestler is always you have to be grinding. So if you ever watch wrestling, you know guys just be consistently attacking all the time. That's my mentality. Is I have to do this, I have to do that. So I'm not gonna make excuses, because as an athlete, you have injuries, you still got to train, you got to put in the time, the hours, and all that sort of stuff. And it's be a lot of sacrifice, because like people don't see what you'll be going through and doing. For me, representing my country, I have injured myself on so many occasions. I have dislocated both my shoulders. I've hurt my ankle, my elbow, everything. But you will never know that because when they go and compete, it's like I turn off all the pain and I just focus on the goal. Try to win something and try to like give the best showing of myself, right? In terms of competitions, there were times where I had to lose 6 pounds in a night. That's not even healthy for most people. But they did just before the competition, and they did this more than once. I had to lose 6 pounds on one occasion, right? I was able to do it, but the toll on me was crazy. Cause imagine you can't eat anything, you can't even drink water. Probably could eat greens, vegetables. That's it, nothing else. And for me, I am so serious about competing in like if I know I'm gonna compete in 2 weeks, I know my body well enough that I can cut out sugars, bread, just drink water. All sweets cut out. And I know by the time the 2 or 3 days before the competition, I'm on that weight. But the thing about traveling is that you might be on weight here, but when you get there, it's a different story. So like I gained like 3 pounds, and I didn't eat nothing junk food, anything, just chicken, water, and I still had to lose 6 pounds at the end of it. But you probably won't know that. They just know that I probably failed or something, and they came back and they're like, oh, but you don't do nothing. You waste money. You know what I mean? And so like,
I mean, imagine if you didn't lose 6 pounds.
Yeah.
They would have given you more.
Even more, yeah. And like yeah, so like
So you don't even know it.
exactly, that's the thing. But like everybody says here, it is a major milestone to even get that far. Because a lot of people, for me, is mentality. Because if you don't have the mentality, you're not going to get far. Not the average Joe is going to lose 6 pounds in a night. Do you really think somebody's going to lose 6 pounds in a night? Nobody can't do that. But you know what I said to myself? I ain't come this far to not compete just because I can't lose 6 pounds. Hell no. I even lose that 6 pounds, but I want to compete. I want to do the best for my country, right? So for me, it is hard, but at the end of the day, I know I'm doing it for my country, and I could probably make history, and that is going to last longer than the pain I went through to lose that 6 pounds. You know what I mean? And so at the end of the day, I'll be able to look back and say, well, I sacrificed this for that in the long term, right? But yeah, that is one of my biggest things I hate about representing my country. Is losing weight and the Barbadian public. Yeah.
Crystal.
I could definitely attest to his story because I was there with him in Brazil where he had to lose 6 pounds, and that was the night before competition. He literally went between the sauna and bicycle.
Yeah.
Jogging. He went 10 minutes in the sauna, 20 minutes on the bicycle repeatedly until the
Whoa.
And that was the night before, and I basically sat there with him through the process because fortunate for me, I made weight, so I didn't have to, and so I was just there to give the moral support. And segue from that into one of the least favorite things about representing Barbados is sometimes you go alone. And she was talking about bonding with your teammates. And when I went to Qatar, I was by myself, and I genuinely felt so alone. There was no other athlete there to share the experience with. And yes, you go with a delegation team, but they have an administrative role to play. They have to make sure that you're safe, make sure that you're fed, and you're ready for competition. But it's not the same as having a partner there to say, well, we got this. Tomorrow we go in there and do your best, and just feed off of each other's support. And so just watching him go through that was really hard, and I was definitely proud of him being able to push through competition the next day. Like everybody here, I don't enjoy the lack of public support. I feel that with the Barbadian crowd, it is very much we support you if you win.
Definitely.
Like when you are doing well, yeah, blue, yellow, black, we all behind you. The minute you fall short of that expectations, you in a thing. And I don't like that. I support. If you're supporting, support us, because there's so many sacrifices that go into getting where you get for that competition. Just being there, being able to stand on your 2 feet after the 24 hours of traveling plus playing add up all together is hard. So for example, coming from Barbados all the way to Qatar, it's like maybe 18 hours of traveling, and when you get to the competition venue, people who just had a 2-hour flight have been there climatizing for 3 or 4 days already, they've been cool, relaxing, and packing your suitcase, but you got competing next day.
Yeah.
So it is hard, and then just having to put yourself in the frame of mind now, okay, let me recalibrate myself for this competition is very difficult. And lastly, representing Barbados, I extremely dislike the chasm that I feel between competition here in Barbados and when we go to the international stage. I hate the lack of development of a semi-professional league. I feel like I go from 0 to 100 real quick every single time you go. There's no real infrastructure in the middle that kind of helps us get from here to being world-class athletes. And I think that is one of the things that cut us the most in terms of performance. Just that space in the middle that we need to kind of decide how we are going to fill as athletes and as organizers and managers of our teams. How do we have a stronger semi-professional league here in all sports so that we can just do better?